The Virtual Boys have been playing Nintendo since they were little. These many years of experience have made them experts in the field. Or at least, they think so. Join them this week as they talk about
Metroid, Samus Returns, some Pokémon news, the SNES Classic, and some indie games.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Boys Podcast, a Nintendo podcast about Nintendo things. This is episode 71, and I'm your host, David. Time to eradicate some Troids, accompanied today with James.
The galaxy is at peace?
And Skylar.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The rest have all died.
And Jordan.
See you next mission.
We are going to talk a lot about Metroid today, because today's episode is mostly about Metroid Samus Returns. It's time to
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. If you haven't listened to our episode from 2 weeks ago, episode 69, you should go listen to that one where we keep our thoughts about the game spoiler-free. But now that we've all mostly finished the game, we're going to talk about spoilers, so you have been warned. You can skip forward based on the timestamps in the show notes if you want to hear some of the other stuff we're going to talk about. Because after the Metroid news, after the Metroid review, I'm getting ahead of myself, we're going to hit on some Pokemon news, at least a little bit, and then talk about what we've been playing. So before we start, just want to remind you to check out our Patreon page, because these episodes are going up early as a reward for those that support us, at patreon.com/Nintensity. And of course, if you want to talk about this episode, come join our Discord community at nintendo.city/Discord. Let's jump on in. All right. Samus Returns. We talked...
Again,
yeah. Returns. Samus returns to the podcast.
For real.
For reals. So, like I said, 2 weeks ago, we gave our thoughts about the game. I wanted to go back to controls now that we've all talked about we've all played through most of the game. Have any of your opinions changed on how the controls work?
I think Yahtzee says it best. To go to rapid fire mode, click right on the D-pad, then press A, then fire your gun. Then to turn it off, press A again. It's super cumbersome with some of the control system they have set up.
I agree.
Way too many
I don't agree.
required.
Okay.
I think that that particular Aeon ability for me is really hard to get access to when I need to use it in a pinch. And that's why I agree with Jordan there. Why don't you agree, James?
Well, we talked about it in our previous podcast, so I feel like it all works out. And sure, it's not you press one button and you're good, but I guess with using the touchscreen, yeah, that is a pain. And I would have liked them to have utilized maybe the D-pad for the Aeon abilities and put something else on the touchscreen, or whatever. But as a whole, I'm totally fine with all the button inputs, and because I feel like it's still a fluid motion, and especially once you get used to it, to me it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
I don't think it's very fluid. I think it just it slows down your movement speed too much to make it a much slower Metroid than past Metroids. You shouldn't have to press two different buttons for specific things. Like switching to super missiles is a complete pain.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You have to. Yeah, in Super Metroid, I'm playing it right now. You have to press the select button twice in order to get your super button. Sure, that's the same button, but it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's about speed. It's not about difficulty. It's about the speed of your inputs.
Yeah, the fact that I have to press and hold down the right trigger button and then use my thumb and reach over and touch the super missile icon, it's a little much than just cycling through a different button set. I mean, we did say last week that it would have been nice if the developers had utilized some of the extra buttons that we have on the new 3DS models, the extra triggers and the C-Stick in at least some form. I feel like that would have made this flow a little better.
Well, I didn't bring this up last time, but I feel like that would have been unfair to those who don't have the new 3DS. And sure, maybe
they do this with other games, though.
Yeah, sure.
Such as Monster Hunter and stuff. I mean, I think it's kind of ridiculous to think that it's unfair unless if both systems suck.
But it doesn't suck. It works.
It does suck.
No, it doesn't.
It can be a lot better.
I
Easily.
strongly
Just
disagree.
give me mappable options.
Mappable options, sure. That would be better. Like if they had control buttons that, just like in previous Metroid games where you get to choose what buttons is what, sure, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
that's something I liked about Super Metroid. It was you have 4 different options to play the game.
Yeah,
right.
You can pick what feels best for you. It's just limiting everybody to one option is kind of it's limiting. It's
especially since it's a bad option.
Yeah.
No, not a bad option. Maybe the touchscreen, yes, bad option. But changing I don't know, I don't know, go ahead.
I've just always been in the camp that when you start using touchscreen to transition stuff, it just slows the game down.
Yeah.
That's not just for Metroid. That's pretty much for everything. But because you have all the buttons at your fingertips, you have to reach over to the middle if you want to touch stuff. When you play the early DS platformers like Super Princess Peach or something, just like you have to reach over and touch like what mood you want. And then it just makes for really slow platforming. And Metroid Samus Returns kind of falls into the same category of you having to reach over a lot and holding the R button and reaching over and that kind of stuff, which can be kind of a pain, slows the game down. It would be nice to have an option, but with how much stuff they did, I don't know how they could do everything at once.
Yeah.
Just put the Eon abilities on the touchscreen. And then
I agree. I think having the Eon abilities on the touchscreen would be better. And then the D-pad would be
the ones that you cycle through less often should be on the touchscreen.
Yeah, like the grapple beam should be on the touchscreen, but you should have
the grapple beam. It needs to be its own weapon thing. That's not a cyclable or gun.
Yeah, where it only activates when it's actually pointing at things. Yeah. And so, I cleared the game 100%. I think my total time was 12 hours, and I haven't really picked it up since I 100% cleared it. But there were some items to get that required pretty precise missile shots and super missile shots and using bombs. And that's where I felt the controls really, really failed for me, was having to switch into Morph Ball really fast, jump up, grab a ledge, hurry and hold down R, shoot a missile, shoot a super missile, and then fling over and get into the hole before the blocks all come back. There was one in particular that it took me way too long because I kept forgetting to hold down the R button to shoot the missile, and then the other times when I remembered to do that, I couldn't get out of Morph Ball fast enough. It was I don't know, it's just some of those precision things, it just didn't quite work the way that I felt that it should have. But
it's mostly because of the speed of input for all these different transitions.
So you mentioned speed of input. I'm playing through Super Metroid right now, and unless there's something happens with the Morph Ball later on, and maybe it does, but in order to get to the Morph Ball, you have to press down twice on the D-pad, right?
Yeah, you have to press down on the joystick twice.
Yeah, exactly. So there really isn't much of a difference.
It's faster to just go tap tap than it does to go
flick
down, wait for it to slide up, tap down again.
So flicking the stick takes longer than just hurry and pressing the D-pad twice.
I've been doing a lot of comparisons between Super Metroid and this new one. It's almost impossible to turn into your Morph Ball on the rise up from a jump.
Yeah.
Whereas in Super Metroid, you can be in a Morph Ball on the rise up in a jump.
I have never needed that in this game. 100% of this game, I never needed that.
That's probably because you're just not trying to do specific techniques.
Right. I've tried to do the same thing that Jordan's done. Yeah.
There's a lot of instances where it's useful to be able to do that. And I keep trying to do that in Samus Returns, and it's like, nope, can't do it. All right, fine, I have to do the slow way of doing it with the spider ball.
Well, I guess this is the difference between a newcomer and an age-old veteran, then. Because there is touchscreen, I completely agree with you guys. Yes, touchscreen. Yeah, I kind of wish there wasn't the whole touchscreen input thing, but I didn't have a problem with it. I felt like I was going through the whole thing fluidly, and I felt I had complete control of Samus. I guess it just comes down to what we're used to, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, Skylar, you played through... Well, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is, Skylar, you've played through the fusion mode, right? Or at least a good chunk of it?
Yeah.
Weren't you saying that 2 weeks ago? And
yeah, that game is freaking difficult as heck, but it's a lot of fun.
Have you tried to do some of these like more advanced techniques that Jordan's talking about in fusion mode?
Well, I mean, like George was saying, or Jordan was saying, it's kind of a pain to do it in this one. It doesn't really work. But like the other Metroid games, especially in my opinion, like Metroid Zero Mission, it takes the controls of Super Metroid and just like even improves them even more.
Zero Mission felt really fluid.
Oh, Zero Mission feels so good. Yeah, and I kind of understand where James is coming from too, because I do think Super Metroid is a little slow in with regards to switching missiles and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, the run button is nice and all that. But I like using the precision and stuff. I don't think it has felt as good since Zero Mission. Zero Mission it's just phenomenal when you're doing that kind of precision stuff.
To be fair, I haven't played Zero Mission, so that's something I can't compare to. But
this game feels slower. It just is slower, like just with the amount of inputs you have to put in, touching the screen and stuff. I mean that I can keep repeating myself all day, but I think it's slower than the other Metroids.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying about with slowness, and because there are moments where you have to stop and aim and stuff like that, but I don't know, I just don't have an issue with it. And as I played through Super Metroid, I was like, I'm having fun with it too. I just don't see one being more superior to the other, control wise. I just wish they had a boost for the spider ball that lets you go faster. If they had like a boost ball I wish that too. I do wish that.
Or even a run button of any sort.
Yeah, because honestly, with the spider ball, like when you're climbing up the whole wall at that one segment to get to the next area, to get to the next Metroid, it can be such a pain just to wait.
Especially since this is before you have the not the screw attack, the one before the screw attack that lets you
space jump.
Yeah. Well, no, not even the space jump, because space jump just lets you jump really high. It's like the intermediate one that lets you spin around and jump high. The screw, or maybe it is a screw attack.
Because there's high jump, space jump, screw attack.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So space jump. Yeah, being able to jump multiple times. Yeah, that's the that's when it gets useful. But climbing with spider ball, as long as they make you do in some segments, is so cumbersome. But
yeah, I agree. It's slow. The spider ball is slow.
But I will say I did really like how you're able to climb on just about everything with the spider ball, unless the wall is slick or something. That was a really nice touch. Not requiring a track like Metroid Prime or any of the Prime trilogy did. It was nice.
Yeah, I really like the spider ball. The only thing it needed was, for sure to be speeded up.
It's really cool because it was something that was really big in the original Metroid 2, and it's great that they brought it back to this one.
Right.
Fleshed it a little bit more. But as far as that goes, it's just slower.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from the controls then and talk about some newer stuff, since, a lot of these other things that are about the game we talked about 2 weeks ago. I wanted to talk about some of the bosses. Well, I guess all of the bosses, since they're all either Metroids, a new boss called Dig or Not, and the final boss, which we'll talk about in a minute. Let's talk about the Metroid hunt first. Did you guys appreciate how pretty much every boss, except for 2, were Metroids of some form? Or would you have liked a little bit more variety?
I think they could have cut down the amount of Metroids in the game and put in more bosses.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't have been bad. Like, having a little more variety. Although, I did enjoy each Metroid I fought. I didn't really get bored with it. But it would have been nice to have at least one or two more.
Yeah.
There were way too many of the flying Metroid that goes...
The alpha
Goes back and
ones,
forth
the
on-
first type that you find.
Well, not the first type, the second type. Not the circle ones.
The
Yeah,
ones that
the
can like
second
crawl
type.
through the holes in the
Yeah,
wall.
they were pretty annoying.
Yeah.
There were too many of them. It felt like I was fighting those just over and over and over and over again.
Well, you were, because they were going into different rooms and you had to chase them down.
It's like basically a different boss.
No,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
I know.
It's like those got a little bit old. I wish every boss was like Diggernaut.
Yeah, Diggernaut was fantastic.
Diggernaut was awesome.
Diggernaut's
So
probably
now
my
we're in the
favorite
spoiler
Metroid boss
section,
in the
right?
entire series. Now.
Oh, that's great. That's high praise, I think.
Yeah, we're hitting some spoilers now. But
Okay.
But Diggernaut just that fight when you finally took down Diggernaut, you're like, oh my gosh.
Like
That
even
was-
the build up to him, like the segment where you're being chased by his drills in like the fourth area or something, and then when you finally get to him, it's just it was such
that
great
was a great-
staging to like build up the hype towards Diggernaut, and then the boss
Exactly.
fight was just fantastic. Like it was challenging. Like I hadn't died as many times as I did before. Just
Is it just
Diggernaut.
me, or does he break through invincibility frames with his drill? Because it seemed
maybe.
like as soon as you get hit, it just goes all the way down, like as each keep rotating.
Yeah, he must.
Drill hits you.
Because in the chase scene, you touch his drill, you die. Like you don't get knocked forward or anything.
But that's just set to be an insta kill.
Right.
In the boss fight, like I ran into the room and I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting," and then I got hit twice by the drill and died immediately.
Yeah, I think you are right. I did get hit a lot with him. Yeah. But his fight was just really fun. It was fun learning the patterns of his attacks to avoid the different attacks, and it was really cool because he was the first boss that required the morph ball to take out. And that was really cool in my opinion, because all the Metroids you just kind of counter them and then shoot them in the mouth or something. I mean, that's oversimplifying it, of course, but Diggernaut, it's like, oh, sweet, I take out his center part, I have to avoid his attack a certain number of times before he gets vulnerable. It was really cool.
Yeah, Diggernaut represents everything good about a Metroid boss. Like having to figure out how to fight it, using the various weapons you acquire.
Yeah.
Another 2D Metroid game it kind of reminded me of was when you fight Nightmare in Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Which, that first time fighting Nightmare, you're like, what the heck do I do? And then you just get, like, destroyed by him. And then you slowly figure it out over time, which is great. And I like those moments in Metroid when the bosses feel like a combination of talent and learning patterns.
Yep.
Like, that's really good stuff.
Yeah,
That's exactly what Diggernaut was. Like, it took, like, each part of that boss took me a while to it took me some time to figure out. But when getting to the last part, it was a little rough for me, so I had to keep redoing it. But the first few parts, I got through them pretty easily, whereas I was struggling at it when I first started. So it's great to have those learning moments and see yourself improve.
Yeah,
but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get to that third part, the third act or whatever.
You mean that part when he started sucking things up, or what?
Yes, I couldn't figure that out. I don't know why I could, because it's like, well, if I get sucked up, or if I do a morph ball, get sucked up. I don't know why it didn't click in my head. Well, it did eventually, but it took me a while for it to click that I need the freaking spider ball. But anyway.
I just dropped straight bombs. Actually, I don't.
But you can use the spider ball.
I didn't use. I didn't
spider ball.
I didn't use the spider ball.
Yeah, he doesn't suck you up.
I just
ran
away and I dropped bombs as I would run away from the suction pattern, and then I'd screw attack over it. And, all right.
Well, good to know.
Now I know for fusion mode. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's that way was a lot easier.
and see that this is another thing that I like about this game is how it added in that 3D element to the game. Like he's not vulnerable unless he's out in the foreground with Samus. You know, like, you can't hit him. And the air suction thing, if you actually do get sucked up, the cool cinematic comes and you zoom in and Samus gets hit pretty hard. It was really cool. I really liked everything about that boss fight. It was fantastic.
The ending of that boss was so funny when he like falls down and Samus just like, F you, and like shoots him in the face right at the end.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
It's like, you've been messing with me for far too long, just die. Just die. So
this is why I hate machines.
This is why you can't trust them.
And then he just dropped the power bomb to get out of the room, and then he just explodes. That was so great. I love that. Diggernaut was cool. Should we talk about the final boss now?
I want to talk about
there were two bosses that were pretty big after Diggernaut.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And Mama Metroid.
Yep. That was.
So how did you guys... Personally, I want to hear how you guys beat her. Like,
so,
I've heard some different ways.
You shoot her enough until she goes to attack you. Like, you know, she flashes and you can counter her. When you counter her, you can then use your grapple beam to yank her down to the ground, go into Morph Ball, go inside, and then drop a power bomb in her heart, and it deals a ton of damage. You only need to do that like 3 times, and you're good.
That's actually not what I did.
Really? Did you just straight up shoot her mouth a million times?
Yeah, I want to hear how Skylar did
it. Like a boss.
Wow.
Impressive.
I hate her freaking green orb attack or whatever.
Oh, I hated that
ones
too.
that don't go away.
Yeah.
I eventually learned that you could just spider ball on the walls to avoid it.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It probably killed me like 5 times before I figured that out.
Yeah.
I really did like that boss fight as well. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
and the game doesn't require you to know to go into Spider Ball or into Morph Ball and blow her up inside, but I mean,
it gives you options.
Yeah, it gives you options. That's great.
That's pretty great. Like, especially in a boss battle. Sometimes you don't really see that, but here they took the time. It's like, hey, yeah, you can beat her with the power bombs, or you can just shoot her with weapons. Like, it's your choice. Or, you know, if you don't think about it, it doesn't penalize you for that much.
At least she wasn't a pixel hunt fight.
Yeah.
Thank
what
you.
do I do? All these hordes of enemies are coming at me. Oh, I just had to look at her.
Just look at her.
That was the whole final boss? Anyway.
Great final boss.
We're not reviewing other M's. Excuse me, I got us off track. That was my fault. So... yeah. So
I spent the last 2 weeks watching my roommate play Other M.
Oh, really?
He heard I was playing Samus Returns. He's like, I should play all the Metroid games, and he started on Other M.
He started with Other M.
Well, you got to get the worst out of the way, man.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Save the best for last.
He didn't believe me that it was going to be as bad as it actually is.
Oh man, poor sucker, poor guy. How long did it take him to realize it?
Almost immediately.
It's like about 5 seconds in. When she
literally when Samus put on the suit.
When Samus started talking, that's when I knew the whole thing just went downhill.
Crap.
Anyway, we're not reviewing Other M. We can't review Other M. That's like our thing.
But the baby does make an appearance.
Oh yeah,
in this game.
Yeah, it does.
It's this is where it comes from.
Yep. Well, yeah.
I love the little baby. It was so cute having him follow me around as I 100% of the game.
Speaking of little babies and destroying Ridleys.
Yeah?
That little baby was insane in that fight.
Yeah, it was.
That was so cool.
It was like, oh man, this is great. I've never seen Ridley get eaten by a Metroid before. This is great.
It's wonderful. I loved every moment of that fight. For me it was difficult, but it was so cool. And like, you know, when the rocks fall down on Ridley, it's like, oh no, he's not dead. He gets up. Oh yeah, he's not dead. And then the baby Metroid comes in to save you. So many good moments in that fight.
Yeah. Constantly sucking the life out. It was cool. And I also love how his name is Proteus Ridley. Like that's such like a cool way to expand on Ridley himself. Like, he's not Meta Ridley, he's not mostly cybernetic. He still has some of his cybernetics, but he's Proteus Ridley. He's regenerated enough of his body that he's mostly Ridley again. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was like a really cool detail. Is it wasn't just like, oh, Meta Ridley's returned or just Ridley. It was just they kind of created a new version of Ridley. It was really cool. A lot of the sound effects in that fight are the same from Meta Ridley in Metroid Prime, which I thought was really cool. It was fun hearing those same sound effects come from Ridley. I don't know. I'm a big Prime trilogy person, and so it's always fun to hear sounds. Like most of the game, I mean, moving on to sound, I guess a little bit, was all about like all of these sounds were from Metroid Prime, like the item collection theme and a couple other things.
Right? Yeah.
It was
you
all
mentioned that in the previous episode that there's just like it's just nice to see them kind of come together, the 2D and the 3D.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe we'll have these sounds going forward, and they can expand upon it. That's fine. But
yeah,
it's just nice to see that that's where they're heading.
Going back to the Ridley fight though, one of my favorite attacks that he does is when he charges at you in the air. Like, if you don't dodge out of the way, he grabs you with his talons, smacks you against the wall, and like keeps beating you down. That was so cool to me. I'm like,
it just shows you how savage he is.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, so
Holy
good.
Cow. Brutal.
So good. I loved the Ridley fight.
Brutal.
I loved it. All of these final boss fights were all like really good. A great way to end the game.
I wish they had spaced them out more.
Yeah, I understand that. Maybe
or just had more of them.
Yeah, that too.
Having one of these kind of bosses in like each zone would have been really good.
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree.
I guess that's one of the flaws of Metroid 2 is that, you know, it literally is going through the game, you know, destroying all the Metroid, and there's not much else to it per se.
Like I said, they only needed I don't know. I think they would have gotten the same point across if you only killed 25 Metroids instead of 40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and have those bosses. Yeah, because I mean, a Metroid game like this, clearing it 100% is like, you know, 12 to 20 hours or something, and removing some of those Metroid fights and filling them with other boss fights would have taken up the same amount of time, I feel. Even if they had kept like the exact same layout of everything, like just replace some of those rooms with bosses. So yeah, I don't know. I did really enjoy these fights, and they were a lot of fun to play through, and kind of a nice surprise at the end, to be honest, with Ridley. I mean, they kind of hinted at Ridley making an appearance in like one of the final trailers before the game came out, but I wasn't paying enough attention to be like, oh shoot, man, Ridley's back.
See, this is kind of weird to me too, because Super Metroid takes place right after this one.
Yeah.
And Ridley's at the beginning of Super Metroid. Spoilers, but I mean, like, what? How does he get to be okay after being brain drained by this Metroid?
Yeah, good point.
And then he just suddenly makes his appearance in Super Metroid.
Well, we do know that Ridley has like crazy super regenerative powers.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he regenerates whenever he eats other things. So.
Right, and he's not seen after the game, but he probably regained consciousness off screen or was recovered by space pirates.
That's true.
Because because in the after credits we see one of the Hornodes, one of the little guys, gnawing on one of his claws, but it was just the claw. The rest of the body was gone, so he had been taken away by that point, or at least flew away or something. So
yeah,
he regenerated and made it back somehow. I don't know. We may never know.
Speaking of that scene, I like how they you know hinted or kind of tied it into Fusion there, where okay, all the Metroids are gone. And here comes the parasite or the
yeah.
So that was great how they hint or tied it in, and I would love for them to try to remake Fusion. That'd be a great game. Although I think I want to see them do a new 2D Metroid game before they tackle another remake.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Give me a new Metroid.
They originally planned to remake Fusion instead of this one.
That's what I heard. I don't know. Maybe I heard it from you, but yeah. I heard.
Yeah, it would be cool. I would love to see a Fusion remake.
Well, if they do make a new one, I would like them to make a game based on the 11th panel.
Oh yes,
the hidden panel in the Chozo Memories.
Yeah. Well, let's jump to the Chozo Memories. Again, this is pretty big spoilers for clearing 100% of the game.
Yes.
Like
so if you have
unlock,
not cleared it,
yeah, you unlock.
Please do
10 plus 1. Chozo Memories by completing each area to 100%. Every time you clear an area to 100%, you unlock another Chozo Memory. At least get the full picture. And when you complete the game 100%, you get access to the 11th, or number 2D as they have. But so the Chozo memories themselves depict like when the Chozo arrived to the planet SR388. They started exploring. They discovered the energy that's on the planet, Aeon energy, that you use throughout the entire game. They start industrializing. They create, Diggernaut and a whole bunch of other miners. They have a bunch of Chozo wearing power suits, and they end up discovering the Parasite X, or the X parasites, and they start infecting a lot of the monsters. And so those monsters were becoming very awful, and if you've played Fusion, you know kind of what it's like. They create kind of clones of themselves, and it's really bad.
they kill the host and then take over the host body and give them like improved physical strength.
Yeah. It's scary.
It's really creepy. And so the Chozo then to combat this create the Metroids, and it shows the Metroids being created in these labs, and it's really cool.
Which is really cool.
And then they show the Metroids chasing after the parasites and eating them.
Everyone's happy.
Sucking energy from monsters, and they're all good friends with the Chozo. And then they start to mutate and evolve.
Crap.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
No, it wasn't. They were not.
Okay,
they
who
were
put it
not.
in
It's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, when something happens
Science
that
will
wasn't
find a
supposed to.
way. Or nature will find a way, whatever the quote is.
Yeah, so
Jurassic
somehow they evolved. Some people are speculating that the Aeon energy itself is what's causing them to evolve. Other people are saying, like, the X parasites having some of the energy were doing it. Maybe over time the X parasites did something to them. It's not entirely clear. So once they start to mutate and evolve, the Chozo erect all these seals, staving off the Metroids, and they flee and try to leave the planet. And the final panel is the most interesting and has quite a few theories surrounding it. It's this red
It's
image.
spoopy, man.
Like,
It's
it kind of
spoopy.
Yeah, it creeped me out when it first came on the screen. I was like, oh shoot, I wasn't expecting this.
Up to that point, nobody had like revealed it when I finally got it.
Yeah.
And then when it just kind of popped up on the screen, my screen started going red. I'm like, oh crap, what's going on? And then the picture comes up. I'm like, oh crap, my 3DS broke. It's like,
I thought the same thing.
it was like 11:30 or 12 at night or something.
Yeah.
I was laying in my bed. I was like horrified by this.
Yeah, and
image.
the music turns like super eerie, and it's really creepy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was on the subway when it happened, so not as scary as a place, but I jumped. I was like, holy, because I was just looking at the 10th screen, and then just suddenly goes red, and I hear the eerie music. I was like, oh freak, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like I look around and like anybody else looking at me having like a mental breakdown here or whatever, like
Right.
scary.
And so, keep going. Sorry.
It was just kind of shocking that they had this extra piece to it, and man, I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
Yeah, because this could lead to a new game. Because what happens is you see the 6 Chozo overseers, is what people have been calling them. The 6 that have been seen in several of the other images, like leading the colony and leading the operation. And all 6 of them are lying on the ground, dead or dying. The Chozo commander that came, like probably in response to a distress call, is turned towards a battalion of Chozo, his arm outstretched, like he's issuing an order. And his right arm has an arm cannon smoking from recently being fired, and the warriors stand at attention, like unfazed. So the whole theory is range from sabotage to civil war, and that's like really cool because we don't have a lot about what happened with the Chozo. We know that Samus was raised by them, and then they just disappeared, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cool thought. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about that?
Oh, I have a ton.
Insurrection. Dude,
Like,
this is gonna be great.
Oh, go ahead, Skylar.
It would be such a great game to finally get some Chozo lore. Like, I don't know. Maybe even play as a Chozo or something and go through that backstory. I don't know. Something like that. Not necessarily play Samus, but...
that would be a really cool idea. I didn't even think about that.
I don't know.
You could.
I don't know if Nintendo's willing to risk that again after Federation Force.
But the thing is, you could still use the same gear and everything. Maybe even show off some of Samus's like childhood with the Chozo. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do some of that with the manga that was released several years ago. So maybe they could turn some of that content into a game. That'd be kind of cool. Like,
Yeah, maybe like flesh it out, but like tell from the perspective of someone else, and really show why they disappeared and why Samus doesn't really know what happened, or maybe she does and she doesn't want to talk about it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not clear how long ago this kind of betrayal was with the killing of the elders or whatever they are. Mm-hmm. They it could have been way before Samus's time, or maybe not that long ago, maybe when she was a child. There's really not a sure way of knowing until they release something on it. But them putting this in here just shows that they're willing to explore that more, and maybe we'll finally know why they're missing. Is it because there's some military faction of the Chozo that is out there in the galaxy somewhere, like biding their time, or did they like cause themselves to go into extinction through civil war? I mean, who knows? There's so many possibilities in this, and I would love to see like Samus. Personally, I would love to see Samus go and like take revenge. It's like, how dare you kill my family? I'll get you. kind of a thing, and maybe these Chozo try to bring back the Metroid or something, and in the end they're like, we're trying to do to save the galaxy, and Samus is like, yeah, screw you. Screw attack you.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan? Do you have any ideas on this?
I just want more Metroid games.
So whatever happens is fine with Jordan.
Whatever gets you more Metroid.
Whatever gets me more Metroid, that's high quality, not Other M.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Other M.
I'm a little weary of putting too much story into a future Metroid, if only because of Other M.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I'm willing for it to happen. It's just I'm very cautious about it. It's not something I want, but I'm not going to fight against it either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Again, I'm kind of a newcomer to it all, so I feel bad for overtaking people's beloved franchises with my story stuff and everything. I don't know. I really want to see the lore kind of expanded, like this whole universe that they have going on, and I think it'd be really cool. But I don't want them to sacrifice gameplay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see what ends up coming off of that Chozo memory. It's definitely shrouded in mystery, and the fan base is very, very interested about what it actually means. Was it civil war or was it sabotage? We may never know.
It's a little of both.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to take. Yeah, I think it's both, really.
Yeah, well, cool. So I wanted to talk about a few other things just before we wrap up and give our scores on this game, because I think we've reviewed it pretty well. I just have to say that this game is so good. It made me feel so powerful running through the end after getting everything and like collecting 100%. The fact that I could just mow through enemies with a few shots, or the screw attack, and not have to worry about countering enemies all the time and shooting them like 80 times. It was just, I felt so powerful. I felt like I did at the end of Super Metroid again in this game. And that was really something to me that, I haven't really felt in a Metroid game in a while. So, I don't know. That's something that I had to say. Any of you guys have any other final thoughts?
Well, I don't know about that, because at Super Metroid, the enemies still scale with you while
that's true. That's powerful. Right. Yeah.
Whereas you're just fighting like the beginning grunts at the end of this game.
All right. Yeah, you're right. So I guess it is a little different. I must be remembering wrong. But anyway, I felt very pleased with how I could run through very quickly and clear the game. So
yeah, I agree with you, David. I really liked how I felt the game. I definitely felt like I progressed, and that was a point where going back and collecting things wasn't a pain. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
I wasn't a huge fan of the little Metroid helping you open paths to
was
with
adorable. It was really fun.
It was great.
He makes some of the collectible collection easier.
It was an item that was a little too close to the end for some of the items to be required to go back for my tastes.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to use him to attack people and drain their life. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
Command him to attack and be like, hey, Metroid, go suck that guy's brain. But, I mean, you finally get control of a Metroid. What's he do? He breaks blocks.
Oh, you're the worst Metroid ever.
Come on, Metroid. At least he got some gumption when he fought Ridley. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like, you know
Oh,
what?
now I'm glad I kept you.
This made me funny. Like at the end, he's like, "I'm hungry." all that block breaking, man. I gotta eat something.
Made me hungry.
Instead of breaking blocks, they should have had it be some sort of like fungus creature thing that's hard to get through, and then it would actually make sense for the Metroid to eat through it.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that. Having it just break those blocks with its electricity is a little weird. But I loved the little Metroid. He was cute. And I really think that it kind of helps me understand a little bit more, like flesh out the baby Metroid in Super Metroid, and I guess a little bit in Other M, why Samus was so attached to it.
Other M's not canon.
I know. Anyway.
Well,
Except it is.
except it is, unfortunately.
Except it doesn't make sense for the rest of the canon for it to exist.
That's why they decanonized the Prime series.
Oh, stop. My theory is that the Galactic Federation just cloned a Samus, and that's the one from Other M.
So the
That's the only way that makes
that's what the
sense.
next game is. Metroid Prime 4, and you kill the Other M Samus.
we already have Dark Samus and we have SAX. How many
too many
Samuses do we need?
Too many.
We need 10 of them, because she's the only one that can take out an entire army of space pirates by herself.
There'll be 10 new characters in Smash Brothers, and they'll all be Samus.
Who's really the weapon of mass destruction?
It's better than
here?
having 10
Metroid,
Fire Emblems.
Samus.
I'm sure
Is it?
the next Smash Bros. Will probably get Silex.
I hope so.
Well, it depends if
It's
Sakurai.
looking like Silex is going to be the next villain.
It depends if Sakurai cares
in Metroid
enough.
Prime 4.
Yeah. Well, okay. Any other final thoughts before we review the game and move on to our next topic?
Nope.
Cool. I'm writing the review right now. I don't have a definitive score just yet, but my score for the game is definitely in the 9s. It felt too good to give it anything less than a 9. At least in my opinion. I don't know. What about you guys?
I feel like I was the one who was praising it the most, and I wouldn't give it a 9.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can give it a 9. I don't
Right,
care. Like
right.
that's your choice. I felt like it was, for me, I felt like it was kind of an 8.5. Yeah, I feel like it's that, because I agree with you that there are a lot of Metroids. I don't think I'd put it down to 25, but
Well, 25 and an increased number of bosses if maybe just have like generic non-boss Metroids floating around.
Yeah. If there was more non-boss Metroids floating around, sure, yeah, that'd be fine. But it would have been nice to see some more bosses. If they could have like a Diggernaut like boss fight in the middle of the game, and maybe because they tried to in the beginning of the game with that mole thing, I forget its name, but it wasn't that great of a fight.
I honestly thought the mole thing was supposed to be another stage of the Metroid. I was only shooting ice missile or ice beam at it the whole time,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I thought
I could have used my real gun.
he looks like a Metroid stage. That's the problem.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. He was kind of a disappointment, though. It wasn't that. It was okay. I mean, yeah, beginning of the game, so it wasn't extremely easy. But anyway, it would have been nice to have some more bosses, and I don't know. Maybe that's the biggest issue here for me, because otherwise I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it just makes more sense in my head to have it at 8.5. I mean, because to be honest, it does do the whole eradication of the Metroid thing, but it's not like the best story in the world. Mm-hmm. So I give it 8.5.
Cool. How about you, Skylar?
Sticking to my guns, 8.5. I don't think this is a 9 game. I think it's really good. I think it's great, but I don't think it's amazing per se.
Okay. How about you, Jordan?
I think it's a great game, but I do have issues with it. Mostly the controls are kind of cumbersome. It had some pacing issues. It's a bit too linear. It kind of kills a lot of the advanced techniques of Metroid. I'd probably say an 8.
Okay, that's fair. So with
otherwise, the game's great. If we had more moments like Dig or Not, it'd probably be higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Digger Knot's probably my
such a high
Digger
moment.
Knot.
I understand.
Digger Knot is my favorite boss in the Metroid series now.
It's pretty great.
Cool. So with a 9, an 8.5, an 8.5, and an 8, that's an average of 8.5 from us. That is Virtual Boys approved or something. We don't have a phrase for that. Cool.
What? Sorry, I missed what the average was. Sorry.
8.5.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, that's our Samus, our Metroid Samus Returns review. So look for my written review where I'll talk a lot about some of this stuff as well. I've almost got it written, and it should be up by the time this episode is up. All right. Well, let's move.
Guys, we forgot the most important Metroid spoiler in this game.
What?
What?
He's a robot?
They revealed that Metroid isn't a robot, and he's a girl.
What?
No, dude. They cloned the robot, and they made the robot a girl.
How do you clone a robot?
I don't know. Choso are good. They do
Josos
anything.
are good. They're real good.
They can. Science can achieve wonders.
Must play game. 10 out of 10.
They turn robots into an animal.
Yeah, no. But just I'll put this in here. I feel like everyone has a 3DS right now should play the game.
Yeah.
8.5 is a great score, and it'd be a shame if you weren't to pick this up. Even if you're not a Metroid fan, I think you'd find this really enjoyable.
I think it's a good starting point for a Metroid fan.
Absolutely.
Or someone new to the Metroid series, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, take a look. I'm kind of newish to the Metroid series, and I loved it. So there you go.
Cool.
Hey everybody, this is David, just hopping in the middle of the episode, like I normally do, to give you a few reminders and let you know about some of the things going on at the website. I first want to direct your attention to our social media accounts, particularly Facebook and Twitter. We've been keeping good track of these two services. We've been posting all of our news that's been going up, all of our articles, and all this awesome stuff, so that you can follow along and make sure that you know when we publish and what we publish. You can check out both of those accounts at facebook.com/Nintensity or twitter.com/Nintensity. They're both pretty much the same, and it's pretty easy to find us that way. I also would like to remind you about our Patreon page. I know that I shout out to it a couple of times in each episode, but I just wanted to let you know that we are still publishing these episodes early as a reward for those who support us, and that's one of the most direct ways that you can support us. So be sure to go to patreon.com/Nintensity to check out what we're about and check out some of our earlier episodes. We do have plans for some other rewards for our patrons, and those will be rolling out fairly soon, I believe. I'd also like to remind you to check out our website at Nintensity.com. We publish lots of news, we publish the show notes for these episodes, we publish opinion articles, and we publish reviews, and a bunch of different things. Lately, we've been publishing the best news, and it's been really kind of cool to see some of the cool stuff that Nintendo and other companies have been doing lately. On top of the news, James has launched a new YouTube series called Nintensity Weekly News, that's the name, where he takes the top stories from the previous week and then meshes them all up into a video for your consumption so that you know what's going on. Yeah, you should go check that out at our YouTube. Just search for Nintensity or find one of the episode show notes on our website. That's about it for me this week. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Be sure to share the show with your friends. It's the only way to really get the show out there to other people. I mean, just one Facebook post every so often is really, really easy to do. You can just go to the show notes by going to Nintendo.city/EP71, and then there's a nice little Facebook share button that you can share the show notes with. I know you know how to share to Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling on. But like I said, it just would help us out so much if you'd share the show. That's all I've got, so I'll let you guys get back to this episode. Thanks.
let's move on to our next topic, which is some of the Pokemon news that came out this morning. They dropped a trailer on us, which was really kind of cool. Had a lot of new story details, like the Ultra Recon Squad, a bunch of new Ultra Beasts, or I guess just one new Ultra Beast, and they showed off two that we'd already seen. And then there's also this really cool thing of Ultra Wormholes where you can actually go through them and fight Ultra Beasts on their home turf. There's like a dark city that Necrozma stole all the light from, and a bunch of other cool little details. If you haven't seen the trailer, you should go check it out if you're interested in Pokemon. So
hopefully they don't give us Ultra Balls for this part again. Or not Ultra Balls, but Ultra Beast Balls.
I think they will, because
when they're basically Master Balls, it kind of kills the whole point of this fight.
Right. They when they were showing Adhesive, the Ultra Recon Squad was the one throwing it on the field, and it came out of a Ultra Beast Ball. So
oh well, maybe there'll be some fun boss fights or something in there, like some crazy dude that has some Ultra Beasts that will never get recognized in the Pokédex because they're brand new or something. I don't know.
It's also kind of disappointing that of the what are they called again? The Recon Beast people or whatever?
The Ultra Recon Squad.
The Ultra Recon Squad. Each one they showed in the trailer only owned one Ultra Beast.
Yeah.
Their teams were pretty small.
From what I could tell,
it'd be really sweet to fight one of them where he has like 6 Ultra Beasts.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That would be sick.
From what I can tell,
yeah, then does the Getsis thing, and then they all have broken stats.
They just party wipe you, all of them.
From what I can tell, it's kind of mid game when you fight one of them, because you have, I forget the form's name, but it's Rowlet's Evolve form. You have that form against the Adhesive Ultra Beast or whatever. So it's not too far into the game, or maybe halfway, that you fight the.
It's only the mid stage.
Yeah. All
right.
So I guess it's going to be a big thing throughout the whole game.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing, and I guess in that way it will make the story a little different. I'm happy with what I've seen. Again, it's just a third installment kind of thing to a game, so I don't expect it to be too different. But getting to go into other dimensions or alternate universes is pretty exciting. So I hope that there'll be stuff to see in the Ultra Beast dimensions besides just the Ultra Beasts themselves. Because if you go there and you're just walking around, I mean, it'd be cool to, I guess, look, but you're not. If you're just catching the Ultra Beast there, I don't know. I feel it's a little disappointing. But then again, I guess that could be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think it's made me more excited for the games, to be honest. Like, I kind of wish that they had shown this stuff a little bit earlier to show us that it's different. But then again, the game is coming out in a month, so there's still time to build up some hype or whatever. Some interest.
I'm still confused on how much difference this is going to be from Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
And that's going to be what determines whether or not I pick this up.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to have a complete Pokedex, you're going to have to get it to get Adhesive.
And the other ones, whatever they're called, Assembly and Burst.
UV Burst and Assembly.
I think Assembly looks cool.
I like Assembly's look.
He looks like you're playing a giant game of Jenga.
I just kind of wish he's a rock steel type they revealed, and I don't know, like, that's fine and all, but I kind of expected there to be a ghost or a psychic attached to it. I guess that's just the Ultra Beast for you. You can't really predict what their typing's going to be. No. For example, Burst, Fire Ghost, I did not see that coming.
Yeah. He blows up his face.
I mean, yeah, I guess the fire makes sense, I guess. But I don't know, I didn't figure he'd be that. His look does not look very ghost fiery.
Yeah.
He's not a Chandelure.
I don't know. This reviews not review this what do you call it?
Trailer?
Trailer was kind of like, this is cool. My hype level's about the same as before. I mean,
really,
you've gone to alternate dimensions before. You've gone to other cities before, like in Black and White. This just seems like standard by this point. nothing too crazy.
Right.
But I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not-
It is
wait.
what it is. It's more game. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm not like,
I don't know. It feels more like this should just be a DLC thing.
Yeah, I was having that same thought like just a minute ago. Like, would I be okay if this was just DLC? I would, but whatever. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, how, aside from maybe Black and White 2, a lot of and Emerald, a lot of the sequel-ish games were kind of continuations and rehash of the same thing, right? I mean, Yellow was kind of that way, except you had Pikachu behind you, which was great. But there wasn't that too much of a difference. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of going, I don't know, it's at par with a lot of other things.
Well, I mean,
It's definitely not going crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
It's different.
I think you're lowering your expectations too much just because of how poor past games
Well,
have been.
well, I mean, when it's the first or second game, it's fine. But this is the seventh installment, right? Sixth installment. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just by this point we should be seeing some crazy new stuff. I mean,
Or make it DLC because that's an option now.
yeah,
Or
Good
just
point.
forget about this and move on to a Gen 4 remake or something.
right.
Yeah, I didn't think
Like
about
what they did with last gen.
Yeah, I didn't think about just ditching the whole concept altogether for DLC, because I agree, it does feel like it could be just DLC. Yeah, maybe they should just start doing that. But then again, I guess they kind of like the money they get from it. So
yeah.
One other thing I wanted to ask was, so we see some of the Ultra Beasts in the actual Alola world. Do you think that we'll be able to catch them in the Alola world, or do we have to go to their dimensions in order to catch all of them?
I think you have to go to their dimensions.
I think so too. Maybe
Yeah.
Okay.
maybe they'll do the same thing as the original for like some of these first ones that we found.
Well, I mean, they
Maybe a
had
couple?
Buzzwole in his own dimension.
That's true. They did, but it was they had I forget Glutton's name. But anyway, they had him. He was in Alola, and they had Xurkitree was in Alola too. So I don't know. I guess maybe they
Yeah,
just
they're not
appear in the
legendary.
main game.
Those could have just been like one of the kind, and then if you want to catch some of your own, then you just go to their dimension.
Ah. Okay.
And so they might just be wild Pokemon in their dimensions, which would make... Are there shinies for the Ultra Beasts?
Oh,
It'd make catching those easier.
that would be cool. I don't know if there are, but that'd be cool. They probably are.
Yeah, there are. I'm pretty sure there are. They have like the shiny sprites, but I don't think some of them are able.
I don't know if they're shiny locked or not, though.
Oh yeah, all the legendaries were shiny locked in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, even though they had the shinies in there.
Yeah, but did the Ultra Beasts count as legendaries?
I think they did. I think they counted as legendary encounters because there were so few of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. They were counted as legendary encounters, even though they're not technically legendary Pokemon.
They
Cool.
do have 3 perfect stats like legendary Pokemon do when you catch them.
Yeah, so all legendaries in the game, including the Tapus and the Ubis, were shiny locked in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I mean, in Sun and Moon. Maybe that'll be different in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I don't know. Anyway, I think that'd be cool though if they were like encounters in these new dimensions. So
Yeah. I'm interested to see if a lot of this is post game or if it's in the middle of the game or in game. I don't know where exactly it's happening. I guess it looks like it's kind of happening throughout the story, so maybe that will mix it up enough. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
we'll definitely see. So let's move on to our next segment, which is what we've played this week. I'll go first. I have been playing SteamWorld Dig 2. In fact, Image and Forum sent a copy of SteamWorld Dig 2 to to review, and I am in love with this game. And I'm pretty sure that when I finish it, I'm going to get Axiom Verge and play that, and that'll be 3 Metroidvania games in a row that I've played in the past month. It's Metroidvania season, let me tell you. Just wanted to talk briefly about the game. I've almost finished it. I'm near the end. Most of my items are fully upgraded. I've uncovered quite a few of the secrets, and I have been having such a blast with this game. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite games now, to be honest, and probably one of my favorite indie games that's been made, maybe of all time. I'm not sure. I haven't ranked it just yet. I'll definitely have a better opinion when I finish it. But it is so fun to play a Metroidvania game with Dig Dug like elements, where you go around and you dig squares and you have to explore. You get upgrades to your items. You get new abilities. And again, it's kind of like how I felt in Other M. Like, you can go through the beginning areas of the game looking for the secrets and feel super powerful. Like, no longer are you clinging to walls or being very careful with how you dig to make sure that you have a way back up. You can just power through the area. You get some really cool movement abilities. I love the idea of paying for my own upgrades to things like buying more hearts and buying more energy for my weapons. The cog system is really cool, where you get very specific power-ups, like what is one of them? Not losing as many resources when you die, for example, or being able to deal extra damage to enemies with your pickaxe. Stuff like that is all really cool because you can pick and choose what kind of playstyle you're going for. Am I more aggressive, or do I need to be more defensive? All this kind of stuff. But some of the puzzle solving is really cool, and I'm just very, very impressed with the game. I don't have a full score to give yet, but that's pretty much my review. I love the game. Love it, love it, love it. I've been playing it like crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have the first one. I need to go play it before I pick up the second one.
Yeah, I'd recommend that. They talk quite a bit about the events from the first one and this one. So
I have it on my 3DS and on the Wii U. I had both copies, and I haven't played it. It was part of that Humble and Indie bundle thing.
I think you have Heist, SteamWorld Heist.
No, it's SteamWorld Dig.
You sure?
Yeah, for sure. It's SteamWorld Dig. I've played the intro of the game, and I don't know, man. The art just kills me. It's so hard for me to look at it for a long time.
Well, the new they changed up the art style for SteamWorld Dig 2. Like that's one thing that people have noticed, and
it's a personal problem. I'll just say that. So, I'm not a fan of the art style, but I mean,
hey, to each his own.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Who wants to go next?
I guess I can go next. Right. I've been playing Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime. We have a review up on the website now. So
it's a lovely review.
It comes out next Tuesday, as of this recording, on the Switch. It's a lot of fun. I got 3 other people together with me, and we played through the whole game and was sitting. A lot of fun. Like, they take elements from Gunstar Heroes and kind of have some weapon merging going on, like Gunstar Heroes / Kirby, whatever, all that stuff. So like, they have these metal power-ups and like regular power gems. You can power different parts of the ship. Everybody can take over a certain part. Like, some guy drives, somebody mans the shields, somebody mans the guns on the side. And you go through this game and you just save a bunch of other creatures. You create love in space, basically, getting rid of all the anti-love and all the negative energy in the universe. It's a lot of fun to play. If you have 3 other people, I would recommend this wholeheartedly. If not, then there is a good single player, but it's not my preferred way to play.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It does look like a lot of fun, and I'm glad you've enjoyed it. The game
relatively easy to get a hold of? Get to understanding of the controls.
Super easy. The controls are so fluid. Like this.
Oh, nice.
The ship feels exactly like you'd think it feel. Like it would control. Like all the mechanics are so well done, and it feels great. I mean, you guys know me. I love good gameplay. This game has really good gameplay. It's a lot of fun. It feels good, feels fresh, feels kind of new. And I really enjoyed the challenges that it gave you. And playing with 3 other people, we had a great time, like yelling at each other to to do certain things or like take different parts of the ship. Just it was a blast. It was great. I do need to mention that Asteroid Base did give us the review copy for this game as well. But I mean, thank you for that. It's a great experience. Go pick this up if you are in the mood for some great multiplayer space shooting.
Cool. Yeah,
Nice.
I'll take a look at it. Thanks, Skylar. How about you, James? What have you been up to?
So I have been playing Pokémon, but I talked about it last week. I just want to mention that my review should be up before this episode goes live. It's all written, just needs to get some editing, and then it's ready to go. So look forward to my thoughts on that. But the other system I've been playing, which I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is SNES Classic. Mostly Super Metroid. I have been looking forward to this game for a while. I don't know if you've heard of it, actually. It's pretty fun. Weird controls, let me tell you. It's not as fluid. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Shots fired.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean that whatsoever. Although it did take me a while to like, okay, so I do this, because I didn't like read a manual or anything. So it took me a while for example, to realize that I could dash. I didn't realize I could do that. And so there's this one puzzle. I was like, how the heck do I do that? How do I get past these stones? I keep falling down. When do I get this power up? But it's not a power up. It's a button command. So I figured that out. Felt stupid. I was glad Jordan and Skylar and David aren't here to see me fail. But no, I really enjoy Super Metroid, and I'm liking the way it feels, and I could see why it's a lot of people's favorite game of all time. The SNES Classic, there's a lot to love about it. Some great games, a lot of charm behind it. That rewind feature is really nice. You know, for the moments where you're being stupid and you waste all your missiles on something, you're like, okay, I didn't mean to do that. Rewind.
As long as you're sitting right next to the box.
Yeah, that's a big issue with it, that there isn't a reset button on the SNES controller. You have to press the button. And actually, funny thing is that when I first started using the Classic, I pressed the restart button, which is supposed to take you to the home screen menu. Mm-hmm. It actually restarted the SNES Classic.
Whoa.
It turned it off and turned it back on. What? So all my save data was gone.
Oh no.
I was like, it was terrible. It happened twice, actually.
Really?
Very, very frustrating. But it hasn't happened since, and I'm just like so scared because I want to like frequently have these save points, but at the same time I'm worried I'm just gonna ruin everything.
So what games have you played on it so far?
So far it's Super Metroid, Super Mario World, which so much nostalgia. I played that on the Game Boy Advance, but it's great to be able to play it on its original console. I've also played a very tiny bit of Super Mario RPG. I love the way it feels. I can't wait to get through it, but I told myself I was going to play Super Metroid first.
Yeah.
And Super Metroid isn't that long of a game, so I figured that would be a good place to start. And the other one I played was Yoshi World. Yoshi's World. Yeah. Yoshi's Island. Excuse me.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Very good.
I have actually never played through it, so it's a lot of fun to experiment. And I was wondering why so many people were talking, saying this is one of their most anticipated games for the Classic. I can see why. It's a lot of fun platforming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the level design is just phenomenal for that game.
Agreed.
Yeah. I gotten around to play Star Fox 2 on the thing. I beat Star Fox 2. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I need to get to that.
I kind of wish it came out in the Super Nintendo era because it blows the first one out of the water.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
I've seen. I agree.
It's so much more fun than the first one, and the controls are great. You get to pick your pilots and everything. Now, don't take this the wrong way, George, but it takes all the good parts from Star Fox Command. and it's like,
There's good parts.
come on, it's good. It's like it takes all the RTS stuff from Star Fox Command, but you pilot the ship and you don't have to use the touchscreen to control anything. So it's all done by the controller, which is good. I really liked Star Fox 2. I don't know why IGN was hating on it so much.
Well, IGN just hates on everything.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you give it a 5 out of 10?
Well, they also don't have consistency either. Like, just a few months ago, they said that Sonic has never been good.
Yeah.
And then they gave Sonic Mania a good score.
Yeah.
Acting like they've always been fans of Sonic. It's like, who's running
bunch
this?
Bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
And I have...
Weirdos.
Maybe there's just too much water in space.
Too much water. There's no water in this game. Anyway, and then I played Kirby's Kirby Superstar. Finished that one to completion. Great game. Mm-hmm. Then me and Mason both powered our way through Super Mario World, got all the exits and everything. It was a lot of fun. Super Mario World is some great memories. And then I've just dabbled in a bunch of the other ones. Like, you know what happens when you get a big library of games? You just kind of look at them all, and then you pick one, and then play it for like 30 minutes, and then put it back. That's kind of what happens.
Cool.
Definitely with the SNES Classic.
I wish I got one.
Good games.
I really wish I got one.
Maybe
I will in the future.
I feel like you can. Like, I don't think it'll be too hard, although they are still selling quite quickly when they go up. But come holiday season, I think you'll be able to find one.
Okay. Well, I'll look. So, cool. Thanks. How about you, Jordan? What have you been up to?
So I've been playing Cuphead, kind of taking a break from Nintendo. It's really good. Really, really, really hard. Oh man. So when my roommate and I first started playing it, because we've been working on it together, we were up in some cabin out at Bear Lake, so northern Utah, and we didn't bring cables for our controllers to connect to our PC. So we had to go over Bluetooth, and the controllers are laggy. So we tried so hard to get through the first world with laggy controllers, which does not mix well with Cuphead.
Yeah.
Just because of how freaking difficult the whole thing is.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game. We just finished the second world. It looks like there's 3 worlds in the game.
Okay.
Most of there actually isn't that many fights in the game. It's just that it's so hard to push through that all of the content is just constantly trying the fights over and over and over again. By the end of the second world, I think my roommate and I were at 185 deaths.
Oh, jeez.
It's fun. The art style is what makes it.
Oh man, it looks so good.
The actual gameplay is really, really solid too. I'm not a huge fan of the platform levels. There's not a lot of them. The platforming seems like it's just kind of tacked on. But the boss fights, because the whole game's supposed to be a boss rush.
Yeah.
And fans complained that it was just a boss rush and they wanted extra levels thrown in, and the extra levels kind of just don't feel as much love is put into them as the bosses. But the bosses are phenomenal. They're absolutely great. Every single one has been a complete blast.
Cool. Yeah,
it looks so good.
It looks really good. I really wish that they were bringing it to a Nintendo console.
Well, I don't know anything about the contract, but I was under the impression that it's a Microsoft exclusive for PC and Xbox, so I don't know if it'll ever see its way to Switch.
Yeah, probably not.
Sadly.
But man, kudos to them. I hope they get all the money in the world for what they did, because that is amazing. That style, and you just gotta think that takes hours and days and weeks to do. Oh man.
I'm just glad that they didn't make it an Xbox exclusive, so I can actually just play them.
Yeah.
Xbox exclusive, console exclusive.
Well, very cool. Looks like we've had a fun week of games.
Yep.
I didn't report on Splatoon 2, so even though
but you played it.
Yeah, I have. Cool.
Excited for Mario and Luigi tomorrow.
Yeah, that comes out. Should be good.
Memories.
Memories. Well, cool. Before we end this episode, because I think that'll do it for us this week, we'd just like to say thanks for joining us this time. It always means a lot for you to listen to us and to join us in this conversation. Your support means a ton.
We'd like to give a thanks to Skylar, as we always do, to thank him for his wonderful music. Recently, we've been using his music in not just his podcast, but in some of the videos that we do outside for like YouTube and stuff like that. So please check him out. A lot of good stuff out there, and Skylar is definitely one of my top 10 musicians alive that I know. Probably top 5, maybe 3. I'll think about it. Okay.
Oh wow.
No, he's great, and definitely worth a listen on his SoundCloud. Just check him out at Skytar with a 5 instead of an S.
I'd like to shout out to our Patreons, Chris and Chase. Your support means a ton. If you want to join them, go to patreon.com/NintendoCity. Remember, the episodes go up early as a reward for those that support us.
And I'd like to invite you to join our Discord community. We're trying to set up a fun place for people to visit and hang out. Head to nintendo.city/discord to join us today, Mac.
So thank you so much for tuning into the Virtual Boys podcast this week. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes, and we'd like to remind you to check out our website at nintendocity.com, where you can find news, show notes, and so much more. This week's show notes are available at nintendo.city/EP71. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Goodbye, you good people.